So, because this is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, I want you to understand that God did not make you on accident. He formed you and functioned you. He formed you for a function, for a purpose. So, you're valuable. You are not just someone that is only here to work. God entrusted an entire creation that He just made. He entrusted you with it. So, don't take yourself lightly, okay? After you were given the position in the garden, after you were given the title of steward or gardener, um, you were then given a task of naming names, naming the animals, and seeing what you would pull from your intellect at that time. To create, right? Which is naming the animals what they're named today. Okay. And God was waiting to see, because it goes on to say in verses below, God was waiting to see what Adam would call them, right? So God is sitting in here this whole time. Although you're stewarding it, he is still serving alongside of you, making sure that what you're doing is kosher. Okay. He's going to see because he's watching you. He was watching Adam from the beginning of time. And so before you can call yourself a king, you must first be a steward and a servant. Okay. So that means, guys, y'all got to get to work. God has placed you in the garden somewhere. You need to get to work. It's time to get to work. And before there was marriage, before there was a ministry, and before there was money, there was a man placed in position. You're placed in position. You see, you are not random. You were created with function and purpose in mind. You're not here by accident. You were formed with a significant purpose. I want to keep reiterating this because I want you to understand, because I think a lot of men sometimes don't feel like they're important, but that's not the truth. God didn't make you futile. He made you fully capable, and it's time for you to embrace it. It's time for you to embrace it. It's time for you to stop acting below your means. Being someone that is a not a good husband, not a good father, essaying women and abusing women, those are not things that God called you. Those are futile things. Those are things that are beneath a true king. Because a true king embraces his role as a steward. And what does a steward do? What does a steward do? They provide and they protect. Now, we hear a lot of hubbub around what it means to provide and protect for your household and those that are leaning on your leadership. And a lot of people deem it as just finances and making sure that you jump in front of a bullet. But the truth is, it's a lot more than just providing finances and physical protection. Okay. So it was function before females came into the picture. Okay. Because who was you providing and protecting? The garden. Everything that was in the garden, the animals, the trees, the fruit, the rivers, you were providing and protecting. You were tending to the garden. Okay. You were placed in Eden to tend to it. To tend actually means to keep. So, as much as we say that women are responsible for keeping their homes, so are men. The men are called to tend to the garden as well. So when Adam was placed in the garden to tend to it before Eve even came on the scene, he was meant to assist just as much as she was in the tending of the garden. Okay. Now, how do you know if you're someone that is providing and protecting as a king? Okay. Because you weren't called a husband first, you were a steward, a protector, and a resource for the source. When God created you, he created you as a resource, which is another version of him in this realm of the earth. Okay. And so when you were put here to provide and protect, that means you were providing stability and security. Okay. Now, when the woman came into the picture, the stability and security looks different. Okay, so Genesis 2:15 says, "And the Lord God took the man and put him in the garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it." That's stewardship. That is stewardship and servanthood. Okay, because to dress means to serve. And it also in the Hebrew definition means all bad, which is to serve God, which is service. So men, you should be doing some form of work way before the woman comes. Okay. To keep it also means watchmen, to guard, to observe. So, yes, women are watchmen and keepers at home, but the men are also keepers of the garden. What is the garden? That is the internal homes of everyone that God has put under your leadership. So you have to make sure that you are providing emotional security, financial security, and physical security. When people come around you, can they let their guards down around you, or do they have to walk on eggshells? Are they afraid that at any point in time you are going to flip out and be a crazy person? Okay. And so now, if you don't know your function, you'll frustrate your future. Simple, simple, simple. If you don't know what you are here to do, how to move, and how to be, because to function is how you are. Let's look up function really quickly. This wasn't in my notes, but we need to hone in on this. So function is an activity or purpose natural to or intended for a person or a thing, right? And so some can say it's your purpose. Absolutely, right? We were put on this earth with the purpose of worshiping God in everything. If you don't know your purpose, start there because that is your purpose, and how you function in that purpose is what you do with your life. So a lot of people say, I'm looking for my purpose. I'm looking for my purpose. But the truth is, the purpose is to worship God, bring souls into the kingdom, and live for King Jesus. Okay. Just to sum it up, how we go about executing that purpose, because he said, um, let us make man in our own image. Let's give them dominion and let's make them fruitful and for them to be fruitful and multiply. Okay. So having dominion means to reign over something, area, jurisdiction. God has given us jurisdiction, okay, down here, and he has commanded us to multiply. So if you are not multiplying, men, with your life in the garden, with the animals, with the fruits and vegetables, what make you think God's gonna want to send a woman your way?